Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Egg Wars. I know I'm looking probably like shit, but I assure you I showered last night at some point, and, I kind of slept on it. Looking wild. You know, it is what it is, but thank you for tuning in. Let's go ahead and crack this sip. Good as always. Alright. So let's see here. Do I have anything to touch on before I start today? Shit, I don't really think so. I guess there's a new FaceAndLMS video out that somebody wanted me to comment on. I have not seen it yet, but as you know, if you like the blackpill-esque content, yeah, a brand new FaceAndLMS video. Basically, he does it way better than even I ever did. I mean, you know, obviously I have my black pill video, but he makes very, very, very good videos, and I haven't even seen it yet, but I'm sure it's great. All his videos are great. So that's FaceAndLMS. Actually, I'll just link it in the description if you want to go check out his channel. So that's out. But otherwise, nothing else much to talk about to start off with, I don't think, for the most part. But we had a comment yesterday from my boy, haha, what a story, Mark. Shout out to Mark. That's my dude. He had a suggestion for the topic today that I had totally even forgot about it. I haven't talked about this story since probably Streamus, and I think it would be a good topic of discussion, and that is the trilogy of the Joes. Joe Garbaggio, Limpy Joe, and One-Eyed Joe. So this is going to be the Joe trilogy today. We're going to cover all bases of these happenings that occurred in the past here over the last couple years. So let me wet the whistle here real quick. So we're going to start off with Limpy Joe and One-Eyed Joe are kind of their stories kind of have a togetherness. So we're going to start with Joe Garbaggio, the story of Joe Garbaggio. So it all goes back to when I used to have to work overnights at my gas station job. I think this was probably about 2.5 years ago now. It's crazy to think that, the last time I talked about this, that Streamus was like fucking almost 9 months ago now. That's crazy. So this is about 2.5 years ago, and I was working overnights, and now when I worked my overnights at my gas station job, it was like I had to always be working with another person. It wasn't allowed for us to just work one person, on an overnight shift, because it was somewhat, in the past, some years ago, somebody had gotten murdered or whatever, and then nobody found his body till hours later, some shit like that. So that was just policy. We always had to have 2 people on. But it was a pretty big gas station, so usually you would have, I'd be having my things I'd be doing on one side of the gas station. I mean, it was fairly, you could almost say it was like the size of a pretty large convenience store, But so I was kind of doing my stuff on one side, and the other person who I worked with had their own set of tasks they'd be doing on the other side of the store. And usually, I was tasked with stocking shelves and things like that. So I would have to kind of be running in and out of this back room where there was back stock to do this stocking, and the way that it was supposed to be would be that when you ran into the back room to grab your shit, you would talk to the other person and be like, oh hey, I'm gonna grab my shit, can you just hold the front for a second here, can you watch some of this? Of course that never happened because we were always so busy and always having so much stuff to do, and people during the day would not get their stuff done, so it was always such a clusterfuck that you wouldn't, you couldn't ask the other person to do it, because they'd be like, if you really want me to stop the shit that I'm doing, just be quicker, just hurry up, wait till nobody's here, and just fucking run and grab the stuff you need to grab, take it down, take a note or whatever. So there was a way we were supposed to do it, but that never happened, because they're like, fuck all that, I'm not going to do that. So I kind of got this reputation for sprinting. In fact, I even, the one certificate that I ever got, the certificate of appreciation that I got at this gas station job that I worked at, it was because they had been fucking watching me, like, on the surveillance cameras or the security cameras or whatever, just watching me do all these crazy fucking Tom Cruise dives over tables and shit. I was going wild. I was fucking doing backflips and cartwheels. I was doing fucking running on the wall like in the Matrix and shit. It was going crazy. So that's just how it had to be. I was always running back and forth to grab the shit and stocking. But one fateful night, I had just went and grabbed something to stock, and you know, we had like the front doors right here, and I was stocking something just a bit out of, you know, there was like some windows, front doors, windows. So I'm kind of like just close to these windows. I'm stocking some stuff over on the shelf over here, and I'm finishing up with that, and I'm kind of walking forward towards the doors, and I look, and it looks like there's somebody like fucking creeping down by like under the front windows. But I, like, you know, I was already working nights at this point. You know, this was like when I was making the videos like Year Without Normies and shit. I was fucking like, I was so sick of this shit. I was like, it was fucking with my mind. So I thought I was just seeing something. I'm like, whatever, whatever. I don't even care about that. Yeah, whatever. I must have just been seeing something. So I go around. I can't remember exactly. Maybe I was up at the front register or something, but I looked out and I was like, fuck, I swear to God, I seen some guy like walking off. We had like the parking lot out front, and I saw like he was at the very edge of the parking lot, like walking off with what looked to be like a bag, like a big fucking, you know, sack or something over his shoulder. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, that's crazy. That's just wild. Like, this is something. I was like, you know, I was like, am I seeing shit? Like, what is going on here? It just was crazy. So anyways, then it was about, I'm trying to think of how long it was. It was some amount of time later, maybe an hour or two later. I'm just kind of, you know, continuing to do my work, and I was just like, you know, I was like, well, that was weird, but whatever, I'm working on my stuff. All of a sudden, this guy comes over. We had a side entrance as well, because that's how big it was. We had like a side entrance and a front entrance. So this guy comes through the side, and he's just the dirtiest looking motherfucker, just all dirty, gross, you know, like grimy coming through. And he, I believe at this point, if I recall correctly, he was coming in to buy a bag of milk. So he came in, you know, we had a bag of milk. It was like $1.10 or whatever it was. So he comes in and buys this bag of milk, and he goes and gets that, and he leaves. And I'm like, God, I swear to God, like his outfit looked a lot like the fucking guy who had just been carrying the sack off to wherever it was off in the distance. And I was like, you know, And then he came back in and he's like, oh, can I get a couple books of matches? Okay, well, you bought something, sure. So, okay, here, just take the matches, whatever, that's fine, I don't care. And so he goes out, and then some guy comes in a little bit later, and he's like, there's this fucking guy sitting out in his car, and he's like starting to fire with these matches or something. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck was going on. So I go out there, and the dude's out there, or whatever it was. I can't remember. It's been so long now. I'm trying to think. Did I go out and I don't think I confronted him then. Whatever the case was, he was out there for some hours. I know that much. I remember that much. But somebody, like, you know, came in and basically said, yo, this guy, what the fuck is this guy doing? I think he was doing something that was, like, unusual and kind of, like, whatever. It was weird. But in any case, what I remember, the next thing I really recall happening was he had a car. Now, what he had done, well, let's see here. Well, where am I want to take it? He had this car, and he brought it around front to put air in the tires of his car. And this car was one of the most beat-up pieces of shit I'd ever seen in my entire life. The doors were like they had like 3 different colors of doors on the car, and the hood of the car looked like a giant boulder had fucking just collapsed like on the hood of his fucking car. You had this huge indentation and it looked horrible. But he's over by like the air pump, which was kind of off in like the far right corner of the parking lot. He's over there putting air in his tires or whatever. And he opens the door of his car, and all of a sudden I see you can see the big fucking black bags in the back seat of his car. So I'm like, oh shit, you know, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is fucking crazy. What the fuck is going on? You know, because I'm like, I just don't know what the fuck is going on, because it would appear at this point that this guy had, you know, I'm putting it together in my head, but the guy had been fucking sneaking across the front of the store, you know, inching over and went back to our fucking dumpster, took some trash out of the dumpster, walked around to the fucking back part of the store over the side entrance, loaded the shit into his car, and then was driving around. And I think he ended up getting like $2 or $3 of gas in his car or something like that. Some parts of this are getting fuzzy to me now because it's so much time has passed now. But anyway, so my boss comes in at like 5 in the morning, whatever, and I'm like, hey, I seen this guy, and at the time I was calling him Garbage Claws. But when I was talking to my boss about it, I was like, no, for some reason I was thinking about, because his whole demeanor was like real greasy and real gruff and kind of like, oh, hey, let me get some books and matches, you know. So I'm like, actually, you know what? I was calling him Garbage Claws at first, but then we started calling him, coined by me, you know, I was thinking like Joe DiMaggio. I'm like, nah, he's Joe Garbaggio. So that was his name because he had that kind of greasy Italian demeanor, you know. So I'm like, that's Joe Garbaggio. So anyways, I tell my boss about this shit, and I end up getting off work at like 6:30, whatever it was, in the morning. And she's gonna do she counts the money, you know, that's how, you know, she's taking all the safe drop service, she's gonna count the money. And she's like, so what time was he in or whatever? And I'd written it down, it was at like midnight or whatever. So we go and she's pulling up the security camera footage. And sure enough, this guy, he goes and he's fucking like doing little ninja moves down across the side of the fucking front of the store. He goes and he actually jumps into like the fucking dumpster. Like he's fucking, because this was not, you know, he's straight up like in the fucking dumpster. And like going through shit in the dumpster, and like he like tore one bag open. He's like looking for something to eat or something. And he's like, you know, putting shit in another bag, and he fucking loads up a bag and just fucking grabs it and fucking hauls ass around. And he walks around because there was like an alleyway. He walks through this alleyway with the garbage bag around to the back side of the store, and he fucking like dips through ninja style, like trying to like, you know, just come up, not like walk right through the lot, but kind of like go around and like come to his vehicle. It was fucking wild, but shout out to Joe Garbaggio. You know, I mean, I've had to fucking eat out of dumpsters before. I've had to eat out of garbage before, so I know it's rough. You know, I could end up being that motherfucker someday. So, but it was just wild at the time. I never seen anybody rob garbage before. But so, anyways, this was in it was like early spring-ish, maybe 2015. But now last year. Early on last year, you know, I was working my job. One of my jobs I was working at the time because I was working 2 jobs. I was assistant manager at this gas station, and the hours were fucked up. I was working like 60 hours a week because people were not showing up for their shifts and all kinds of fuckery. But so, anyways, this gas station, it was over by a couple different colleges. But it was also right by a trailer park. So you kind of would get this mixture of people coming in. Some who are like, you know, these, you know, totally all paid for private college, you know, super cool, super rad people, you know, all the kids that were all like super cool, and they're just like, you know, oh yeah, you know, all the latest cool looking shit, whatever, you know, they're just on top of their game. And then you'd have the trailer people who were coming in and just being like, you know, just fucking trailer trash type people, I guess, pretty much. But there was a guy who was a little in between, and he lived, he rented a house that was pretty much right across the street from this gas station, and this was One-Eyed Joe. He had one eye. Well, he had both eyes, but like one eye was like just basically didn't work. And he always wore this hat that had he had this hat that he had that was like a cat's hat or something like that, but one of the eyes was like an X, and it happened to match up with his bad eye. So he wore this hat all the time, and he was a pretty cool dude, actually. I mean, I'm pretty sure I still have him on Snapchat. So One-Eyed Joe, he was a character. But he was, you know, he was kind of he ran into some problems because you know, he was sort of not much of note to me for a while. He wanted to be a rapper. He kind of was like, he was kind of a cool dude, but kind of a little bit grimy at the same time. So he kind of had an energy going on. I was like, okay, maybe you could do that. You know, he was talking about like, oh, he wanted to fuck all kinds of bitches, but of course we're talking trailer park shit. So he's running down on like these morbidly obese like fucking trailer chicks. But hey, you know what? I can't knock it. It's that trailer park shit, you know. So anyway, I started to, some things started to happen once though. He was renting this house, and he had 2 roommates, and so they suspiciously had just like, you know, he basically would give them some of his like Subway paycheck or whatever, and they would do, you know, they would like cover the bills or whatever, you know, it was however it worked. But they were gone. They basically just kind of like up and disappeared. Like he gave them money for rent or whatever it was, and then like the next day they were both gone, and they had been gone for like 2 or 3 weeks. And he's like, "Oh shit, where are these people?" Like I kind of gave them this money to pay the bills and stuff. I don't know if bills are paid. I'm kind of worried. And all of a sudden, I'm working one night, and his fucking house gets raided by like 6 squad cars. They're kicking in the door, all this shit. Apparently, these people that he had lived with were on the run. They had warrants out for their arrests. I don't remember if it was like drugs or if it was like fraud or whatever it was, but they fucking basically tell him, "You can't be here. This is an investigation. We need to like see if we need to seize anything," whatever the case was. So they kind of kick him out or whatever, and he's coming in just kind of chilling around the gas station. He's like, "Oh, dude, this fucking sucks. This is some bullshit. Oh my god, I can't believe this, man. This fucking sucks, dude." He's kind of just like chilling out. And we used to fuck around so much anyway. Like we would sit and play, we would like play rap songs over the over like the intercom, like like the shit, because you have to announce the gas pumps or whatever. But if it was like in the middle of the night, nobody was usually even there. It wasn't that popping, you know, in the middle of the night. So like we would just chill and just fucking like play like rap songs over the fucking intercom, and just because this guy who I worked with a lot, since he was like the only person who didn't just walk off on the job, he was this ex-con. He had lost his license or whatever. He'd been a trucker, but he lost his license because he did something. I can't remember what it was, but he was an ex-con anyway. He had done like 4 years, I think. I think it was 4 years he did for like a gun charge or weapon trafficking or some shit. I don't remember, something like that. But he like, you know, he was kind of a gangster guy. So we were just kind of chilling and bullshitting or whatever, just saying fuck it. Anyways, a couple days goes by and everything, and he's like, God, you know, the dude's just kind of hard up. He's like, man, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I don't got anywhere to stay. He's like, I just don't know what the fuck's going on. So he takes his backpack and he goes back into his house because he could, like, you know, he could still get in. So he goes back into the house and he's like, well, fuck my roommates then. If they're doing all this shit, they're going to prison anyway. Fuck them. So he starts basically gathering up all of their shit that he can. He had like phones and audio equipment and TVs and whatever else was in the fucking house. He's like, fuck all this shit, man. I'm saying fuck all that. So he's gathering it up and basically just carrying as much as he can, and he's taking that from his house over to the trailer park, and he's going to people's trailers, and he's like, oh, you want a TV for, you know, fucking, you know, pennies on the dollar for all this different shit. He's selling stuff for like 80% off. He's selling cell phones. He's, you know, whatever the case is, he's fucking just boom, 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 boom. He's stacking up some paper, you know, hawking this shit. He's like, fuck all this, man. I'm done with this shit. He's boom, boom, boom. He's dishing out this stuff to people. He's stacking up this money. And then all of a sudden he, God, I still don't remember how the fuck, he ended up getting some money, and then he got like an SUV. Now I can't remember if he legitimately owned this SUV, or if he just took it from somebody. I don't remember, actually. I don't really remember how it all went down. All I remember is that all of a sudden, like, he's fucking calling the store one night, and he's like, yo, what's up, dude? Say it's One-Eyed Joe, what's up? And the dude at the time, well, his thing was that, you know, once he got all this money up, he's like, well, I'm gonna go be a rapper. I'm gonna go do my rap songs. I'm gonna be a rap star. And I think he got invited to like be a rapper in Florida or something. I think that's what it was, if I recall. So I'm pretty sure, like, he called the store and he's like, oh yeah, I'm in Florida. I'm living in my fucking SUV in Florida. I'm gonna be a rapper or whatever. And he was parking in these like fancy neighborhoods, and people were like calling the cops on him, and he's just like, oh yeah, what's up, dudes, how you doing? Yeah, I'm gonna fucking be a rapper, I'm going to the studio, all this shit. The dude's just like, it's just crazy. And like he ended up adding him on Snapchat, and he would like post all these fucking Snapchats of himself. Like, he'd be like on Snapchat just like fucking shitting on the ground, like pissing on random shit and all this weird stuff, and he'd be like, yeah, that's One-Eyed Joe. Here's my One-Eyed Joe. Whoa! And he's like fucking like waving his dick around. I don't know. It was fucking weird. But he ended up. He went to Florida, and then all of a sudden like, he calls back, because I worked at this gas station for like 6 months. So this was like when this first started happening. It was more, you know, around earlier, because I think by April, maybe, this is all of a sudden he was calling up. He's like, "Oh, I got this job opportunity. I'm in New York City now. I'm gonna be a window washer in New York City, and you make a lot of money. And I'm staying with this dude." And he's like, "Oh, you guys should come. You should quit working at the gas station, man. You should come to New York and be a fucking window washer. It's big money, and it's we got our own. We're starting a window washer company together with me and this guy." And I'm like, "Hey, do your thing, buddy. Do your thing, hey." But now, there was also Limpy Joe. Now, Limpy Joe was a guy. I was working at the same gas station for that 6-month period to be an assistant manager, and Limpy Joe was this guy who blew into town one day, and he had some kind of, I don't know if it was like one of his legs was born longer than the other one or something like that. Whatever the case was, he had this issue, and he was limping around, and he came in. Oh God, I'm trying to remember where it even starts now. It's been so long. But basically, he just didn't have a job, and he was blah 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 whatever. So he came in one night, and he didn't have any means of which to apply for this job. So this was actually normal with this trailer park nearby. Like, they would allow people to come in to the gas station and basically go back to the manager's office and fill out the job application online on the manager's computer, because it's so common in that area. It was so poor that people just didn't have computers. That was normal. So so we brought him in. He filled out the application or whatever. Cool, all good, all gravy, whatever the case was. So he fills out the application and shit, and then all of a sudden he pulls up one night, like a week later, in his truck, and he's like, "Oh my God, oh no, I just realized I forgot my wallet, and I don't have any money, and but my truck is it's out of gas, and I can't go anywhere. I'm gonna have to sit here." And we're like, "Oh well," he basically. I'm like, "Fuck you, dude. I'm not gonna. What do you like? Do you want me money from me? I'm not gonna give you shit. You can either, but you can't stay here either. You're not. We don't allow you to fucking just be here and be a loiterer." I was like, "That doesn't. I'm sorry. You got to figure something out. Like it sucks, but there's nothing I can really do." But the guy who I was working with, was a nice guy named Johnny. He was a nice guy. So he's like, "You know what? All right, here's $20. For gas. That's fine. Hey man, I've been there before. Johnny, he kind of came from a tough background, so he's like, "Oh, I know how it is, man." Limpy Joe, he's like, "Oh my God, thank you so much." And he buys the gas, and I think he might have bought like a fucking donut or something. I don't remember. But he goes and he leaves. Okay, whatever, that's fine. Then he comes back, like he started coming pretty often, like usually. On a fairly regular basis, and he was also loitering a lot because I guess he didn't have anybody in his life, so he'd come and like tell us about how I think he was like a high school dropout or something had happened when he was in school, and he got blamed for raping some girl, and he said, "No, I didn't do it," but then he had to like leave his town because like his name was tarnished for raping this girl, or supposedly raping this girl or whatever that he said he didn't do. So all this shit, and it's like, okay, well, that's really unfortunate, but I don't really want you sitting in my fucking store 2 to 3 hours a night, continuously like bothering me while I'm trying to do shit either, So, anyways, some more time goes by, and he gets this job at this sign printing company, and he's like, "Oh man, got this job at the sign printing company. Oh, it's all good, dude. Oh, it's gonna be good. But hey, you know what? I'd still like to even work here too, just part time maybe." And we're so hard up for people. We're like, "Yeah, we're trying to like get the word to the manager in the morning, like, hey, go check out this guy's application, blah 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 blah." And then like a week or two after he works at the fucking job application for the sign printing place, then that falls through, and he's just like, "Oh man, oh it's horrible." He's on his deathbed or whatever. So we're really pushing for the manager to interview this guy. And finally he agrees to interview the guy, and he's like, "There's no fucking way I'm hiring this guy. He came in and he's talking about he raped a girl or something. Like, that was the first thing he told me. He's like, well, I need this job because I left my town because they said I raped a girl." And he's like, "Listen, man, I just don't want anything to do with that. I'm not gonna hire him. He's weird. He's got problems. I don't want anything to do with him." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, And then he didn't show up for a little while. Then all of a sudden he shows up one night in a truck. And this, I actually wasn't here this night. This is a story I got from the ex-con dude who I was working with. He says that Limpy Joe pulls up in this truck one night. And he goes up to the guy, and he's like, "Oh," the guy who's working, and he's like, "Oh man, do you want to like come with me after you're done with work? I'm just gonna chill here, and after you're done with work, you want to come? I decided I want to scrap my truck. I just really need this money bad right now, but I need you to put it in your name and under your license and shit. And he's like, no, I'm not really comfortable with that. And so the dude goes out for a cigarette, the dude who worked there, and he goes and looks in this fucking truck, and the whole fucking dash is like torn apart. He's fucking driving with a fucking screwdriver in the ignition and shit. And like the plates are, I can't remember. It didn't have plates, or like the fucking plates were fucked up or something like that. And he's like, no, there's no way in hell that I'm gonna be. I'm not taking the fall for you to fucking take this stolen ass vehicle in and scrap it and then have it on my name so you can fucking go dip off of this money. And then Limpy Joe was like, oh fuck this shit, then man, fuck all that. And then he drove this truck off in the distance, and nobody ever saw him again, as far as I know, anyway. Speaking of trucks, though, that reminds me of another story that happened there one time. This guy, he was from the cities, and I think, well, it was some guy from the cities, and I think he was like Somalian. But we're chilling one time and working at the store in the middle of the night. All of a sudden, we had the gas station. It was like, you'd go on this, there was like a main intersection, and the gas station was kind of like, you take a right and kind of go in like that. So it was kind of off to the right side there. All of a sudden we're working one night, and this fucking van drives off the intersection and basically fucking like drives down the little hill or whatever, down into the fucking parking lot like that, and fucking is just like boom, just fucking boom right down in there. And we're like, holy shit. All of a sudden these fucking cops, like some cops saw this, because the cops had a tendency to kind of hang around the gas station because they got free coffee and whatever, so they'd kind of be chilling there waiting for something to, interesting to happen. So this happens, and there was a cop nearby, and he's like, oh shit, he fucking whips around and comes to check this guy out, like no license, no insurance, no nothing, and the nearest person that he knows is in the cities. Well, actually, no, it wasn't even in the city. Well, it was near the cities, but it was like 2 hours away, it was whatever it was. So the cop goes, okay, well, you gotta call this person that's 2 hours away, they gotta come get you because you cannot drive, So the dude calls this person up, it's 2 hours away, and he's like, well, I'm gonna have to chill here for 2 hours, okay, that's fine, whatever. Well, he goes out for a cigarette after like probably 40, 50 minutes after the cops had, very clearly left the area because they had other shit to do. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go out for a cigarette. So he goes out for a cigarette, and we're not really, okay, whatever, yeah, do your thing. We're not the cops, and he fucking just runs right over to his fucking van, just fucking peels out, and he ended up getting arrested because the fucking cops were just like, pretty damn close still, and they were like, oh, hey, wait a minute, it's that fucking dude. So they arrest him, he's arrested, and they fucking impound his van or whatever, and then after the 2 hours from the initial call, these women show up to pick up this guy, and we're like, oh, the fucking dude left, and he's arrested now, so you gotta go fucking get him from jail. And they're pissed off, oh my god, they're just fuming. There's some other guy with them that like didn't come in at first, and he comes in and he's like, where's that motherfucking guy? I'm gonna beat his motherfucking ass, I'm gonna beat that motherfucker ass, oh. He's just freaking the fuck out. So that was funny. And then there was another time a college kid fucking stole this truck and came and brought it into, I remember I posted this on Snapchat. If I still had my phone, if my S7 hadn't blown up, I still have that shit saved on there as a saved snap of like this. There was just fucking like 10 squad cars in the parking lot because this college kid stole this truck and brought it into our gas station for some reason. I don't know. Maybe One-Eyed Joey's a rapper now. Maybe Joe Garbaggio doesn't have to eat the garbage anymore. Maybe Limpy Joe got a job now. Hope the best for him, but that's the trilogy of the three Joes that I had to deal with in my time. Now, to end today's video, on top of that, I've since I've been doing these, this is the sixth one now. I've been shouting out my people on a fairly regular basis, but at the same time, I kind of thought to myself last night, I was like, sometimes, so this is kind of a thing that happened recently. I was recently approached by a company to be a sponsor for them, where I would recommend their watches, and for every watch they sold, I would get $20. Now, I don't know, buying watches online, I'm sure the dude's cool, like, I don't really know, I can't really, but for me, I'm just like, if I'm going to sponsor something, or if I'm going to show something, you know, I don't even shill myself, so I think I need to get more comfortable with shilling myself first before I'd want to sponsor somebody else's product. Because I can't stand behind what they do, but I can stand behind if I'm a fucking, you know, if I do something or if I don't do something, I can stand behind what I do. So for this one particular episode, maybe I'll do this like once every like 10 episodes or some shit. I'm going to put my PayPal link in the description today, and if you want to send me $1 or some shit, if you enjoy these videos, whatever the fuck you want to do, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. So that's my shilling for now. I need to get comfortable with, if I want to be a sponsor for somebody else, I gotta get comfortable with being a shill for myself first. But other than that, shout out to my boy Arto. Shout out to my boy producer Chris. I saw he was streaming on Twitch now, doing some game stuff. So his links and everything are going to be in his YouTube channel, so I'll link both their channels again as usual, and my shit as well. Other than that, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Egg Wars. I mean, goddamn, at this rate, this shit's going to end up lasting like an hour pretty soon if I keep on thinking of stuff to talk about. But, you know, other than that, I guess we'll just catch you next time. Egg Wars 7 will be the next one. This one was 6. Peace out.